Since a lot goes on in Alice in Borderland before Season 3, viewers might need a quick recap of every plot development in the show's Seasons 1 and 2 before checking out the third installment. The Japanese show is based on a manga series of the same name written by Haro Aso and fully exhausts its source material's content towards the end of Season 2. With Alice in Borderland Season 2's ending aligning with that of the original manga, the show adopts an original storyline in Season 3. Despite drifting away from its source material, though, Alice in Borderland Season 3 marks the return of many main characters from previous seasons and continues their story. Owing to this, a quick brush-up of Seasons 1 and 2's main story beats seems necessary before watching Alice in Borderland Season 3. Arisu loses his best friends, Chota and Karub, in an early game at the Borderlands. Karub, Chota, and Arisu in Alice in Borderland Season 1. Arisu and his best friends, Chota and Karub, together end up in the Borderlands in the show's opening arc. After winning a few initial games, however, they face the ultimate test in the Seven of Hearts game, where only one player, the Wolf, survives. To Arisu's shock and devastation, his friends sacrifice their lives so that he can live and complete the games. Almost throughout Seasons 1 and 2, Arisu carries the crushing guilt of their deaths before finally coming to terms with it. With the eventual acceptance of their deaths, he finds a newfound purpose to live and embrace his life in the real world. Arisu and Usagi meet other players who collect game cards. Dao Tsuchiya as Usagi and Kento Yamazaki as Arisu walking down a hallway in Alice in Borderland. Soon after losing his friends, Arisu crosses paths with Usagi, and they team up in a game before finding a community of other players. Takeru Danma, Hata, who is the leader of the community, forces them to surrender the cards they won after winning each game. He and many others believe that collecting a full deck of all the playing cards may hold the key to escaping the Borderlands. Hata is found dead before a horrifying witch hunt game begins. Chishiya talking to Arisu on the radio in Alice in Borderland. Hata gradually grows more and more disillusioned and starts believing that sacrifice is a necessary evil for them to make it back to the real world. However, he is suddenly found dead before his friend, Aguni, takes over as the leading figure. Meanwhile, Arisu and Usagi are tricked by an incredibly sharp player, Chishiya, who also steals all the cards. Soon, a witch hunt game begins, in which players are expected to find Momoka's murderer and throw them into the fire. To win the game, Aguni goes as far as throwing the bodies of many players into the fire. Arisu, though, eventually puts his deductive skills to good use and concludes that Aguni killed Hata while Momoka died by suicide to start the witch hunt game. The face cards raise the stakes. Ginji Kyuma, the king of clubs in Alice in Borderland. After acquiring every number card, Arisu and his newfound crew find themselves in the second stage of the games, where they must acquire face cards. This set of games proves even more challenging because, in order to complete them, Arisu and his friends have to beat the citizens of the Borderlands in their respective games. While Arisu leads his friends to a King of Clubs game win, Chishiya single-handedly outsmarts everyone in the Jack of Hearts game. Arisu, Usagi, and the crew later beat the Queen of Spades, hoping she would tell them how they could leave the Borderlands. To their dismay, she takes her life soon after her loss. After barely surviving the King of Spades, Arisu and Usagi face the Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts looks on in Alice in Borderland. The Queen of Hearts, Myra Khan, in Alice in Borderland, initially claims that Arisu only has to play 3 rounds of croquet with her without quitting. However, things soon take a twisted turn when Myra gradually draws him into a game of manipulation and mind control by skewing his sense of reality and perception. She almost convinces him he is in a psychiatric ward, imagining the Borderlands. Luckily for him, Usagi saves him before he almost gives up by reminding him that he promised her they would survive. The surviving players get a choice. Dao Tsuchiya, Kento Yamazaki looking shocked in Alice in Borderland Season 2. Credit, copyright symbol Netflix, courtesy Everett Collection. After Arisu and Usagi beat the Queen of Hearts, all the surviving players get a choice: stay in the Borderlands as residents or return to their previous lives in the real world. Arisu, Usagi, and their surviving friends, including Chishiya, decide to return to the real world. The truth about the Borderlands is revealed. Chishiya wakes up at the hospital in Alice in Borderland Season 2's finale. After choosing to return, Arisu awakens in a hospital and has no recollection of the games. The show soon reveals that they were a result of a meteorite hitting Tokyo. This revelation suggests that the Borderlands existed somewhere between life and death. All the players in the games were actually the people who had been caught in the disaster and were hovering on the edge of survival.